What's good? It's your boy Fanon. All right, man. Eddie Hearns loses another purse bid. I have no clue how Eddie Hearn manages to lose purse bid after purse bid after purse bid. This last one was for Josh Warrington versus Kid Galahad for, I believe, the IBF 126-pound title. And I don't know, man. I was under the impression that Eddie Hearn had had hundreds of millions of dollars, if not billions of dollars, in this mega purse of his to make fights happen. But time and time again, Eddie loses purse bids. He has another purse bid that he's due to lose in the next in not too long. And possibly two purse bids that he's still got on his to-do list, to lose list, not to-do list, to lose list. But before I get into that stuff and what I think that means, I want to welcome you back to the channel, subscribers. If you're not subscribed, I hope you accept my invitation to subscribe and to hit the bell icon so that you can be notified of when we release more videos. So, Eddie Hearn loses the Josh Warrington versus Kid Galahad purse bid. Obviously, Josh Warrington is represented by the main competitor in the UK for Matchroom, which my understanding is Frank Warren. And just another in a long list of losses for Eddie when it comes to purse bids, man. But let's just go through over the last bit of time of the purse bids that I know he participated in, which ones he lost and which ones he won. Of course, back in 2015, he loses the Chris Eubank versus Nick Blackwell fight purse bid. And that was what led Chris Eubank to leave Matchroom. Chris Eubank had left his previous promoter, went to Matchroom thinking that he was going to get big fights from Matchroom. Matchroom then goes about losing a purse bid to Nick for the fight with Nick Blackwell. And Chris Eubank is then free to pursue other to other promotional relationships, and he decides to leave. Just this year, there was Dillian White versus Kubrat Pulev. Now, Dillian White is the number 2 guy, from what I can see, the number 2 guy at Matchroom. Maybe underneath Kell Brook. Maybe underneath Amir Khan. I would think that would be Dillian White, though. But Dillian White's definitely the number 2 heavyweight over there at Matchroom. And Eddie Hearn loses the ability to promote Dillian White versus Kubrat Pulev. Dillian White and Eddie Hearn then pull out of the fight and come up with an agreement to fight. I do believe that it was Joseph Parker that they skipped out of that and fought, which was not a mandated fight, so Eddie couldn't lose the purse bid. Then, of course, there is another one I believe was this year, might have been earlier I believe this was in 2018 rather. He lost Alex Saucedo versus Maurice Hooker, right? So now we're at 1, 2, 3, 4. That's the 4th one that he lost that I know of. Then back a couple years ago, there was Callum Smith versus Andre Durrell that he lost. That fight wound up not going over. And I think that that fight wound up not happening. Eddie Hearn winds up having Callum Smith take place in the World Boxing Super Series. Callum Smith is now a middleweight champion, having beaten George Groves. But that was another example of a lost purse bid. Then, of course, there's another one involving Andre Durrell when Eddie Hearn was representing James DeGale, and James DeGale lost that purse bid to Andre Durrell. Now, the 2 times that I can think of Eddie Hearn winning purse bids were Kell Brook versus Errol Spence, and then Demetrius Andrade versus Billy Joe Saunders. Of course, we know with the Errol Spence Jr. versus Kell Brook, That winning didn't make any difference. Won the purse bid, got his fighter destroyed in the process. Then Demetrius Andrade versus Billy Joe Saunders. This was the first supposed to be a fight that was going to take place on DAZN. Billy Joe Saunders winds up popping dirty. When he pops dirty, Demetrius Andrade then fights for the vacant belt, wins the vacant belt. My understanding is that the WBO is going to order a rematch between Demetrius Andrade and Billy Joe Saunders. So, and now there's another one that is coming up, by the way, which should be for Anthony Corolla versus Vasyl Lomachenko. You can count that into the Matchroom is about to lose a purse bid category. He's not going to beat Bob Arum. I do believe that Bob Arum was the one that won, that beat him with Alex Saucedo versus Maurice Hooker, and you can expect that to happen again. Now, the reason that I find this so funny is twofold. Threefold. One, I don't like Eddie Hearn. I think the dude is a liar. I think that he exaggerated. He blows a lot of smoke up people's behinds, and that he's really not all he's chalked up to be. And definitely the amount of money that this guy is supposed to have, I don't really believe it, man. I don't know what the mechanisms are behind the scenes, but this guy loses if all the money he says he has to be signing fighters, he wasn't able to sign any of the PBC fighters. And you got guys like Adrian Bronner laughing at the money that he offered. You got Tyson Fury laughing at the money that was offered for that fight. And you have a proven track record of losing purse bids. So I find that funny. The second reason that I find it funny is because because he said that he wants to fight, that he wants to bid. If it goes to purse bid, which it probably will not, if it goes to purse bid, that they're willing to go, they're going to go hardcore after Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder's fight. This guy cannot win a purse bid, a purse bid that I believe one of these things were won for $20,000, but he is going to beat the PBC, Viacom, Al Heyman, and all these guys in a purse bid for Deontay Wilder, Tyson Fury. Maybe that would be the case. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe he's hiding his nickels and dimes and storing them up so that if there's ever a purse bid for Anthony Joshua, that they won't have to, they'll have the money to put the down payment on and win that and keep somebody from snatching an Anthony Joshua fight away. I believe, though, that they were very much on their way. Anthony Joshua and Eddie Hearn was very much on his way to losing a purse bid for the last Anthony Joshua fight that took place with Alexander Povetkin. If you guys recall, it was rumored that the WBA gave them 24 hours to come to an agreement between Anthony Joshua and Alexander Povetkin, which wound up stretching out like several weeks. Now, the first thing about that obviously is that probably wasn't a real deadline, and just a way to get Anthony Joshua and Eddie Hearn out of that Deontay Wilder fight. But also the amount of time that it took after that probably had a lot to do with the fact that Alexander Povetkin's promoter is very, very, according to rumors, is cash rich, and would have been more than happy to beat those cats at a purse bid and sent that fight with Anthony Joshua to Russia. That, I think, would have been absolutely hilarious, and that's one of the reasons that I think that Anthony Joshua probably wound up giving Alexander Povetkin big time money for that fight, just to avoid it going to the embarrassment of losing, not only the embarrassment, but the actuality of losing a purse bid for an Anthony Joshua fight. Now, eventually, though, that's what I'm wondering when that's going to happen. Eventually, Anthony Joshua is going to run into a mandatory where the mandatory is not going to take the deal that they give, and it wind up being a situation where they can have a rival promoter come in there, offer a bunch of money, and take that fight. I think the highest probability for that is Dillian White. Dillian White versus Anthony Joshua. But we'll see if that happens down the road. Anyway, man, I'm no more fronting and faking about Eddie Hearn being this mega cash rich cat, man. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. You don't lose that many purse bids you don't lose that many purse bids if you really have the money. You really have the money to make those fights happen. But anyway, it is what it is. And with that, I'm out. Peace.